We're about to record a podcast, and let me tell you, it was chaotic because I could not find the I don't even know what this is called, the thing that the microphone plugs into, which plugs into the phone, which I record the podcast through. And then I bought a headset mic, and it's a stupid USB and not a headphone jack. So we're having a day, but we are going to record this podcast, and it's going to be good because I actually got some questions from you guys. What's going on, Gainsters? Welcome to another episode of the podcast.
The Mean Gains Podcast with Jen
And Zoe.
Yeet.
And Bruno just staring at us. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing great whenever you listen to this. And we're doing good. We're hanging in there.
Mm-hmm.
We are how many weeks out from your surgery?
Almost 6.
We're about 6 weeks out from Zoe's Macy procedure. How are you feeling?
I feel done with my CPM machine.
Yeah, Zoe is still in the range of motion machine for 8 hours a day. And it's a lot. But on Tuesday, done with the machine.
Mm-hmm.
She's already at 25% weight bearing or pounds weight bearing, whatever it is. Percent. So still crutching, but can start to put weight on her legs. So we are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, we are. Forward.
And I will say, though, it has been a lot being a single mom, having to take care of you and the dog.
A single mom who works too hard.
Something never stops. Yeah, it's been a lot. But the WPL season is about to start up again. We had a captain's practice last Tuesday. We have another captain's practice this coming Tuesday, and then at the beginning of August, our official practices start for the second half of the season. I'm very excited. This break was not really much of a break at all because I had to keep preparing for the season, and we played in some sevens stuff and going to Can-Ams next weekend.
Woo!
Woo! So it'll be fun.
What's Can-Ams?
Can-Ams is the Canadian-American rugby tournament in Saranac, New York, right next to Lake Placid. It's 2 days. It's Saturday and Sunday, the last weekend of July, and it's craziness. There's over 100 teams there just playing, I think, 20-minute halves, 25-minute halves, 40-minute games, something like that. You play about 3 games on Saturday. Then depending on how you do on Saturday, you can play anywhere from 1 to 3 games on Sunday. So it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's all different ages and genders, and there are different brackets. So there's a competitive bracket, a just for fun bracket. There's an old people bracket. It just is chaotic and fun.
Yeah. Zoe and I went 3 years ago was our first one. Zoe balled out, and then last year I went, I balled out, and this year we're both going again. Zoe obviously is not playing, but hopefully I can ball out again right before the kickoff to the second half of the WPL season. Little main gains update for you guys. Not even really just an update, but things that you guys can utilize as resources. I have a blog, fun fact, on my website, www.maingainswithaz.com. And so I post some nutrition stuff on there, some training stuff, and the most recent one is all about speed and agility ladders, and basically how they don't make you faster or more agile. Doesn't mean they're useless. I want to preface that because I've been getting actually a lot of questions lately about speed ladders, and there's just a lot of misconceptions about them. So I think it'll be a good spot to kind of start this podcast off with. But before we get into that, there's the blog, and then check out my YouTube channel. There is a lot of good stuff going up on there. Posting Zoe's kind of, I wouldn't say right now they're weekly, but we'll be doing like a mini series on her recovery process and what returning to the gym and training is going to look like for her. I just uploaded a whole 50 to 60 minute talk of the speed and strength clinic I held at Bowdoin, the Polar Bear Rugby Camp. And then there's just a bunch of fun vlogs from rugby and my training and life and business. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Alright, without further ado, let's talk about speed ladders really quickly because I don't want to get too held up on it. No, they will not make you faster on their own. No, that doesn't mean they're useless. You can use them to start opening up your mind and learning new movement patterns that can be used in sport, like crossover steps and jab steps and things like that. However, speed ladders, they lack variability and they lack reactivity, and they lack, force production, so moving yourself from one position to the other. It's just a lot of fast feet, which is only one part of the equation when it comes to speed and agility. Yes, you need to be able to move your feet fast, but you need to be able to move your body from point A to point B faster than your opponent and evade your opponent. And if you're on defense, then you need to be able to keep up with the person trying to evade you. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions or something that I should point out about those?
I don't know. I think that speed ladders are really good for coordination, like you said. I think lacrosse players or kids that I'm trying to rehab or whatever, learning how to move their feet and track something at the same time, but not necessarily good for a 20-yard sprint time.
Exactly, right? So it's all about time and place and what is the goal of the drill. You can use ladders to start to learn and initiate movements, but they have to be progressed to open play where you can react and then use the movements you just learned. Boom. Okay. I think that solidifies the speed and agility ladder talk, and I also wrote the blog on it, so you can go check. Put up a Q&A on the IG, so Zoe, will you read off the first Q?
Yes, our first question is, can you talk about variable sprints? So take that as you will.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to, I guess that variable sprints, there's a lot of up for interpretation with that. The first thing that comes to mind is distance. And then the second things to come to mind is position or type of sprint. So if we're gonna do distance, I think it's great to do multiple distances, whether it's in one session or you split it up into two different sessions. So your first session of the week could be longer sprints, maybe 40 yards, that top speed, max velocity type stuff. And then the second sprint session of the week could be more acceleration focused. So 10 to 15 yards. And then, so that's distance. And then what comes to mind is position. So starting on your stomach or starting in a athletic stance, like a side stance, doing a curved sprint, an S sprint, all of those things can find their way into your training program, and I think they should, especially curve sprints. Those are underrated.
What about starting from a fly versus a dead start or a reactionary start?
Yeah, so a flying 10 or a flying whatever just means you get a build up. So if you set up speed gates or if you have your training partner at the 20-yard line, they're not gonna click the stopwatch or the gate isn't gonna time start your time until you pass the 20-yard line, and then wherever the second gate is, whether that's the 30-yard line, once you sprint through that one, it stops. So you had a 20-yard build, and then you did a 10-yard fly. So technically you sprinted 30 yards. That's what a flying 10 is, or a flying 20, whatever it is.
And what is the benefit of that?
The benefit of a flying 10 versus like your starting 10, so if you have someone like say go and you react and you sprint 10 meters and they click the stopwatch as soon as you start, and then as soon as you hit the 10-meter mark you click the stopwatch again, the dead start, the reaction start like that, that's going to get more of your acceleration time. So how quickly can you react and increase your speed? The flying 10, these longer sprints, those are going to build your capacity to handle higher speeds. And training flying 10s and longer sprints will translate more to acceleration than acceleration will to your flying 10. Because in acceleration, you're not going to reach those high velocities like you will in a flying 10. So those are my thoughts on variable sprints. Do multiple distances, do multiple like starting positions, and then do different directions of sprints. So that curve, like if you go to a soccer field and they have the big circle in the middle of the field, you can sprint from one side to the other, like what is that, 180?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a semicircle?
Yeah, semicircle. Just sprint the semicircle. I think that's really beneficial for athletes.
Yeah. Okay. Our second question is, what does it mean when someone says fast twitch versus slow twitch?
Fast twitch muscles are your explosive muscles, and slow twitch muscles are your endurance muscles. So, generally speaking, every person has a different percentage of fast twitch to slow twitch. Some people you can automatically tell, like, oh, they have majority fast twitch. It's those athletes or just people in general who react really quickly, who can explode, who are snappy, who are just naturally fast. Those are fast. Zoe is a perfect example of a fast twitch athlete.
Not right now, I'm slow twitch.
And then slow twitch athletes tend to thrive better in endurance sports just because they can handle that longer duration type of activity. You cannot train slow twitch to be fast twitch, right? You can't change muscle fiber type. However, you can target the specific fiber type that you kind of want to train, and it will get better at that thing. So fast twitch, there's two types of fast twitch fibers. I believe it's X and A. Those ones, because they're both fast twitch, you can kind of shift one to the other. But that's the explosive, speedy stuff that you're doing. Like when you do power and when you train strength. Slow twitch muscles are, again, more of that endurance type thing. So when you go on your long zone 2 low intensity conditioning, like that's when you're really training your slow twitch muscles, and doing like power is what's going to train, and sprints is going to train those fast twitch muscles.
Yeah.
Hope that answers that question. And if you want more detail into that, we can do a whole podcast on just fast twitch versus slow twitch. Just let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. I can pull up more, give you more science behind it.
Yeah, I think it's important just to say that, everybody has both, and it's important to kind of train both in different capacities.
Yeah, and anecdotally, I am not a fast twitch athlete. So I've said that before. Very slow. Had to train very hard to kind of get better at expressing my fast twitch muscles.
Yeah. So our final question for this podcast is, what are some examples of effective HIIT workouts for when you are short on time and on the go? So I guess you could start with, what is a HIIT workout?
HIIT stands for high intensity interval training, and HIIT gets bastardized a lot. You like that word?
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Because it's done incorrectly. Because realistically, high intensity interval training should only be done maybe once or twice a week, because it's that high intensity and it's short. It's not meant to be 30-minute workouts, right? That's technically, you can't hold high intensity when we're talking about percentage of effort for 30 minutes. It's hard, it's challenging, don't get me wrong, but if we're sticking to scientific definitions, it's not high intensity. However, if I was short on time and I wanted a high intensity stimulus, I guess it really kind of depends on the goal. For me, it's to get faster and more athletic. So let's say I have 30 minutes. I would probably do like a 5-minute warm-up, maybe 10, but then, so that gives us like 20-ish minutes to do a workout. I would do maybe 5 sprints every minute on the minute. I would start at 10 yards, 15, and then 20. I wouldn't do more than 20 yards at that point. And that's 5 minutes, so now we have like 15 minutes left. I would warm up and do some sort of power exercise, whether it's cleans, like an Olympic lift, or just weighted jumps of some capacity. I would spend about 5 to 10 minutes doing that, probably 10 minutes, and that gives me 5 minutes at the end of the session to hit something heavy, whether it's a heavy single on a squat, or if it's an upper body day. My upper body days wouldn't look like that. No, my upper body days would probably follow the same, like if I were to do something like that. But instead of sprints, I would just hop right into like plyo push-ups and explosive rows, and then I would still push something heavy like a bench press, and then I would pull my body weight with pull-ups. That's what I would do if I was short on time. But again, that's me. If you're looking for a conditioning workout and you don't have a lot of time, one of my favorite go-to conditioning workouts is just 20 hills in 20 minutes. And that's a lot. So you might need to build yourself up to that. But it's the same concept of our speed training. However, we're shifting it into a conditioning aspect, so that repeat sprintability. So if you find a hill, it's not too steep, sprint up about 15, 20 yards, and then just walk back, and you just do that 10 to 20 times. The incline of the hill is going to decrease the intensity of your sprint, but we are still replicating quality sprint mechanics, as well as being able to do it fast, repeatedly, which is exactly what sports is.
So my question for you is, like, when someone says a HIIT workout, the first thing that my brain goes to is like the Pinterest like circuit like training.
Mm-hmm.
So are they like one and the same? Is circuit training high interval like HIIT training, but like not vice versa? Like, what is your... I think that there's a misconception about HIIT.
Yeah, circuit training is not HIIT. I should have like solidified this before I came on here, but I'm like 90% sure that HIIT is like when you think of the 10 seconds on, 20 seconds off for 8 times, and it's just 4 minutes. Like, that is what true HIIT is. It's either 10 and 20 or 20 and 10, something like that. But that is HIIT. Circuit training is going from one exercise to the next, kind of building your work capacity. there's nothing wrong with circuit training, but you just have to know what you're doing, which is building capacity to do, whether it's like higher rep stuff for longer. You can do capacity training for low rep stuff. So if I was to do, like, you can do a circuit where it's like, okay, every minute on the minute for 20 minutes, exercise 1A is 5 box jumps, and then exercise B is 5 weighted jumps, exercise C is 5 back squats. That's just a random example. And then you just do that over and over again. That's an example of a circuit. So, I don't even really, I don't know where to go from there. Don't do it.
Is circuit training HIIT training?
No. Circuit training is not HIIT training. HIIT training...
Circuit training can be high intensity, but it's not HIIT.
Correct. Circuit training, I would argue that circuit training is high effort. I guess it could be high intensity in terms of like percent of weight lifted, depending on how you structure it. But yeah, HIIT is different than circuit training. Maybe I can write a blog on that too. I could also do a whole podcast on that. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. I know I kind of rambled on that one, but I think I got the point across where it's like if you're short on time, you just have to decide, okay, what is my goal, my training goal for the day? Do I need to do conditioning? Do I need to do speed work? Or do I need to do strength? And whatever that is will dictate how you go about your session. Because you asked about HIIT, I'm assuming you want conditioning. So again, just kind of work backwards from what you're trying to achieve. If it, not a lot of time, how do I word this?
What are you trying to say?
Well, I was going to say, like, if you're short on time, a low intensity conditioning session is probably not going to be your best option, just because you need longer to get more benefit out of that. So if you're short on time, you're probably going to have to turn it into, for conditioning, something that is more high intensity.
Cool. Those were our questions.
Yeah, those were the topics for the podcast today. I hope it didn't feel too rushed, but like I said at the beginning, had a hard time finding the mic for this podcast. I was cleaning and I misplaced it, and so we kind of our schedule for the day got a little thrown off. So hopefully this answers all of your questions. Let's see. Shameless plug. You can get your nutrition supplements from Bear Performance Nutrition using the link in the description and on like all my social media platforms. Unfortunately, I still don't have a discount code, but it does support me. It doesn't even support me. I don't get any, whatever. Shop BPN. That's what I use. If you're interested in training, feel free to reach out. Got a lot of options for you guys. And that's it. Any last words, Zoe?
Make sure you follow at @the_Gainster on Instagram and YouTube. And like, comment, and subscribe on wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, make sure you leave a review, share it with a friend, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.
The Main Gains Podcast with Jen.